SeaWorld helicopter pilot had a breakdown and took cocaine before crash because reality wasn't wild enough. When life imitates a bad reality show, even SeaWorld can't escape the high-flying drama of human error and hubris.
DOJ orders prison inspectors to ignore LGBTQ safety standards, calls it streamlining. When protecting human rights becomes an inconvenience, justice turns into just another casualty of bureaucratic efficiency.
When the fox guards the hen house, you can bet the hens are footing the bill for their own security.
Russian troops plant flag in Pokrovsk, declare liberation. When occupying forces call it freedom, Orwell's ghost gets another royalties check.
McKinsey proposes CEO turnover strategy, then blames AI for stress. When your job's a game of musical chairs, the last thing you need is AI playing DJ with a glitch in the track.
FBI captures January 6th pipe bomber, but democracy is still on life support. Finally arresting a suspect is like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. Decency is still bleeding out on the Capitol steps.
Rosneft profits nosedive 70%, but CEO still gets a gold-plated parachute. While oil prices and sanctions squeeze profits dry, executive bonuses remain as slippery as ever because nothing says we care like a golden handshake.
India simplifies labour codes, promising investment, but workers fear losing rights. Streamlining laws sounds good until you realise it's more about cutting corners than cutting benefits, leaving workers to wonder if modernisation means modern serfdom.
Turns out, the future of political discourse is brought to you by the same algorithms that recommend cat videos.
Quinta Brunson funds Philly field trips for thousands, calls it education outside the classroom. In a world where textbooks are as outdated as dial-up internet, Brunson's initiative is a field trip away from a reality where learning isn't limited to a classroom's four walls.
Paramount fumes over Warner Brothers' sale. Netflix leaps ahead in the bidding war. When Hollywood's big players start crying foul, it's like watching a soap opera where the plot twist is a streaming service outbidding the old guard. Grab your popcorn, folks. This sequel's just getting started.
French budget. When the French political scene turns into a high-stakes
Los Campesinos disclose earnings from streaming, revealing pennies per play in our detailed website post. When your favorite indie band earns less from streaming than you spend on coffee, you start to wonder if streaming is just a fancy word for free labor.
Tennessee special election predicts voter apathy with turnout lower than a basement disco party. When even the promise of change can't lure folks to the ballot box, democracy starts looking like a Netflix show everyone forgot to binge.
American Eagle's airy brand grew sales by over 10%, proving underwear can be more inspiring than Sydney Sweeney. When lingerie outshines a Hollywood starlet in sales, capitalism's priorities become as transparent as a lace bralette.
When a governor splurges on land like a tech bro at an NFT auction, you wonder if taxpayers are footing the bill for his monopoly game.
U.S. officials to meet with Putin in Moscow, as if inviting the fox to dinner with the hens. Diplomacy or theater? When the curtain falls, it's hard to tell if we've gained peace or just another act in the geopolitical circus.
In a world where our devices already overheat, Valve's idea seems like the perfect way to combine gaming with the charm of third-degree burns.
America, where we promised refuge and then yank it away faster than you can say, Statue of Liberty. Maybe they're confusing asylum with a game of tag.
IRS reveals missed tech tax breaks for giving Tuesday donations because nothing says holiday spirit like a bureaucratic slap on the wrist. Apparently, generosity requires a CPA on speed dial. Next time, remember, in America, it's not the thought that counts, it's the tax strategy.
Chuck Schumer reports multiple bomb threats to his offices because apparently some folks think democracy needs a little more explosive input. Nothing screams civil discourse like terrorizing a senator. When did debate turn into a DIY demolition derby?
Australian economy claims growth from data center boom, but it's more of a shuffle than a sprint. When your economy's big savior is a server farm, maybe it's time to question the whole lucky country narrative.
JD Vance offers unsolicited commentary on Ukraine peace talks, contributing zero diplomatic experience and maximum political noise. In a world where influencers sell peace like protein shakes, JD Vance is just another loudmouth at the negotiation table.
Virat Kohli scores his 53rd century, proving once again that cricket is not just a game, but his personal highlight reel. When the rest of us struggle for consistency, Kohli's bat is out here writing symphonies in centuries.
EU pledges $500 million for Armenia's energy security, calling it diversification while still buying Russian gas. When you've got a Russian energy umbilical cord, 500 million is a fancy band-aid for geopolitical headaches.
When you invite the fox to guard the henhouse, don't act shocked when your eggs start disappearing.
Only 10% of Chrome users install top extensions, and tech giants call it optimization. When the digital age hands you a Swiss Army knife, most folks just use it to cut toast.
Saudi Arabia slashes oil prices to 5-year low, then claims it's a market strategy. When the world's oil baron offers a discount, you know the planet's piggy bank has a hole in it.
Trump administration bans World AIDS Day promotion, and Madonna calls it ridiculous. When the government tries to silence a virus's legacy, even pop icons have to shout louder than a karaoke night in denial.
Tech investors chase AI, cybersecurity, and green energy, ignoring actual profit.
Spotify reports Smile as the South Stars, Tell Me streams surged by 20%, calls it a cultural renaissance. Yes. Because nothing says renaissance like a sudden spike in clicks, as if a virtual chorus of thumbs can resurrect the essence of art.
The classic oopsies, we might have poisoned you moment, where a quarter-century of scientific oversight gets a fancy new label instead of an apology.
South Australian Liberal leader quits months before election, insists he wasn't pushed while polls predict a landslide loss. Another political captain jumps ship just as the iceberg approaches, claiming it's all part of the plan. Who knew electoral doom could be so liberating?
Moscow talks fizzle as Zelensky battles corruption, leaving Ukrainians stuck between a rock and a hard place. When diplomacy fails and corruption thrives, it's like trying to fix a leaky boat with a colander. Everyone ends up wet, but not in a good way.
Pizza chain CEO blames solar flares for delivery delays, promising extra toppings for cosmic inconvenience. When your pepperoni's cold and the sky's on fire, maybe it's time to question if your dinner plans should involve a spacesuit.
Rotterdam mayor declares fireworks a cultural heritage despite city-wide insomnia and pets in therapy. When your night sky looks like a war zone, maybe it's time to rethink if tradition should come with earplugs and a sedative.
Johnson approval rating plummets to 20%, claims it's a sign of loyalty. With numbers this low, you'd think they were selling discount concert tickets, not leading a nation. Time to face the music, Johnson.
UnWSL rejects Trinity Rodman's multi-million-dollar contract, calls it an oversight. When the league can't handle a female athlete's worth, it's not just an oversight, it's a glaring neon sign of systemic sexism in sports.
Deutsche Bank proposes solutions to Altman's code red, calls it a roadmap. When a bank infamous for its own crisis offers advice on AI threats, it's like asking a fox to guard the hen house. What could possibly go wrong?
Asian stocks drop as US inflation data looms, markets brace for impact. When Wall Street sneezes, Asian markets catch a cold, proving once again that financial health is just a global game of tag, you're it.
Former EU diplomat Mogherini faces fraud charges, claiming innocence amidst scandal. Diplomatic immunity doesn't cover financial gymnastics, but perhaps she can blame it on an administrative oversight and hope no one checks the receipts.
Space CEO claims private stations profitable, as if zero-gravity real estate isn't already monopolized by cosmic billionaires. Turns out, the final frontier is just another strip mall in the sky where the rent is astronomical and the view is priceless if you can afford it.
Megan Thee Stallion wins lawsuit against blogger, proving some truths are hotter than any diss track. When a rapper's lyrical sting isn't enough, the courtroom becomes the stage, and the gavel drops harder than any beat.
Only 30% of African nations choose partners freely, and global powers call it a partnership. When your mineral wealth is the prize, it's hard to shake off the feeling you're the world's favorite side hustle.
RSF transforms El Fasher into a ghost town, then claims it's for peace. When peacekeeping leaves nothing but shadows and silence, it's time to question whose peace they're really keeping.
When fewer people are working more, the math might add up, but the humanity sure doesn't.
Cloudflare restores global web access, claims dashboard glitch was minor. When your digital lifeline is a single dashboard, a minor glitch feels like a major heart attack.
Only 36% of golfers improve with a rangefinder, and manufacturers call it revolutionary.
Trump renames Peace Institute for himself, then cuts its budget, because nothing says peace like a hostile takeover and a nameplate swap.
Only 34% of Russia's oil and gas revenues remain, and Putin calls it resilience. When your economy's lifeline becomes a trickle, but you're still flexing like it's a fire hose.
Pharma giants tout obesity drugs as addiction cures, but side effects include false hope and empty wallets. When the cure for one addiction
Only 5% of comments discuss the music, and Reddit calls it engagement. When a song's melody gets drowned in the sea of self-promotion,
when your concept is for that.
DocuSign beats earnings expectations, but shares drop as forecast fails to impress. When your AI-powered triumph gets overshadowed by Wall Street's insatiable appetite, it's less about signatures and more about signing away hope.
When your administration's loyalty becomes a global headline, it's less about diplomacy and more about broadcasting the art of selective silence.
Jackfix deploys fake Windows Update pop-ups on adult sites, spreading digital thievery. When your cybersecurity strategy involves pop-up deception on adult sites, it's less about protection and more about playing peekaboo with privacy.
NYC Mayor Eric Adams bans Israel divestment, claims it's for unity. Because nothing screams unity like telling people where their money can't go. It's the financial equivalent of a do not disturb sign on democracy.
Victorian Parliament halts session after protester growls at Premier, demands youth accountability.
Like
When democracy meets primal rage, you know it's a party. Who knew growling was the new rhetoric in the age of political theatre?
Trump pulls White House press corps into chaos, calls it transparency. When the circus comes to town, expect the elephants to dance. But when the press becomes the ringmaster's puppet, who's really running the show?
Former CDC vaccines, Head joins NYC LGBTQ plus Health Center, swaps red tape for rainbow resilience. From dodging political landmines to embracing community lifelines, Daskalakis trades bureaucratic circus for a stage where humanity takes the spotlight.
Trump administration threatens blue states' SNAP benefits, defying judges' ruling on immigration data. Because nothing says land of the free like holding food assistance hostage to fuel a political vendetta.
Century-old Dow theory signals bullish U.S. equity rally, predicting more gains despite climate chaos and economic inequality. When a theory older than your grandma is your best stock market guide, maybe it's time to rethink our economic crystal ball.
Only 20% of readers access Slate Plus, and the subscription promises exclusive groans you never knew you needed. If paying for extra journalist groans is your thing, it might be time to question what you're really subscribing to.
Bain Fiddle and SMBC launched €1.5 billion growth platform, calling it a lifeline for corporate borrowers. In a world where debt is the new black, these financial giants are your personal stylists, ready to tailor you a bespoke financial straitjacket.
Only 30% of European countries maintain mandatory military service, and NATO calls it a strategic necessity. While some countries are dusting off conscription like a vintage coat, others are offering voluntary service like a gym membership. Join for the uniform, stay for the existential crisis.
Michael Burry denounces Tesla as ridiculously overvalued. Then Elon Musk proposes $1 trillion pay package. When your paycheck could buy a small country, it's hard to hear the word overvalued over the sound of your own ego inflating like a hot air balloon.
Germany deploys police unit to shoot drones, calls it a defense strategy. When your biggest national threat is a flying camera, maybe it's time to consider if you're waging war.
Who knew that ignoring science could come with a price tag higher than a Kardashian's wardrobe? Keep those blinders on, they're clearly working wonders.
When you equate human lives with trash, it's no wonder the recycling program is non-existent.
King Charles slams Russian aggression, vows to defend Europe.
When monarchs start weighing in on geopolitics, you know the world's a royal mess. Maybe he can knight some tanks while he's at it.
Kids who played early computer games now reflect on their lives, realizing their avatars aged better than their knees. Leveling up in life isn't quite as fun without respawns, but at least those pixelated worlds taught us to dodge reality's lag.
Geeks halts Oxford Street with surprise concert, yet shoppers still trample each other for half-price toasters. In a world where consumerism reigns supreme, nothing says "I love you" like a celebrity cameo amidst a sea of shopping bags.
Venmo restores service after massive outage, calls it a minor hiccup during rent payment week. Nothing like a digital wallet blackout to remind us that cash is still king, especially when your landlord doesn't take "the app was down" as an excuse.
When your defense strategy hinges on secrecy, transparency can be such an inconvenient truth. Maybe next time avoid partnerships with infamous billionaires.
China criticizes UK for stalling on embassy decision, another diplomatic dance-off. It's like delaying the first date because you're not sure if they're into you or just your real estate. But hey, who needs clarity in international relations?
US airline fares dropped to $391, but nostalgia for 1995 cost $614. Ah, the good old days when we paid more for legroom and stale peanuts. Who knew inflation would turn airline seats into a bargain basement?
Former EU foreign policy chief runs in handcuffs, proving diplomacy isn't always the noble art we thought. When your foreign policy chief ends up in the backseat of a squad car, it's safe to say the bloc's moral compass needs recalibration.
Investors double down on US stocks, as if Wall Street's a guaranteed home run. Betting on the stock market like it's an endless Yankees winning streak is a surefire way to strike out.
HSBC appoints Brendan Nelson as permanent chair amidst rising geopolitical tensions. Entrusting the helm to Nelson is like handing a powder keg to a matchstick enthusiast. Expect sparks, and not the good kind.
Warner Brothers Discovery auction attracts Comcast, Netflix, and Paramount, promising to stretch Hollywood's wallet wider than a blockbuster flop. It's like the Hunger Games, but with studios fighting for a crown that might turn into a pumpkin by midnight.
Anthropic's chief scientist predicts AI autonomy could trigger an intelligence explosion, yet warns it might also be humanity's last decision. It's like handing a toddler the keys to a nuclear submarine and hoping they learn to play nice before hitting the big red button labeled "Oops."
Silver prices stabilize after profit-taking ends 8-day rally, proving even precious metals need a breather from their own hype. It's the financial equivalent of a reality check, reminding us that even shiny things can get too full of themselves before gravity kicks in.
Finnish Arkimai KL launches new track, claims it's hard AF, and invites you to make his friend famous. It's the modern music hustle, beg for shares, hope for virality, and pray the algorithm gods deem you worthy of the spotlight.
Fixed maturity funds absorb $260 billion in debt, lowering borrowing costs but hiding repayment risks. When the financial glitterati say investment, they mean let's play hide and seek with your money. It's like a magic trick. Now you see it, now you owe it.
Australian government automates NDS plans, reducing human oversight, and claims it will streamline services. When a computer decides your disability support, it's like asking a toaster for life advice. Efficient maybe, but not exactly empathetic.
When the Pentagon issues a deadline, it's like your boss setting a meeting for 5 minutes ago. Everyone's scrambling, but the chaos was pre-planned.
Scientists discover Antarctic shift release carbon, but who needs details when you've got disaster? Apparently, Mother Nature's been hoarding carbon like a doomsday prepper, and now she's just casually unleashing it like a bad sequel to climate change.
Lagarde refuses ECB treaty violation over Russian assets, pledging loyalty to bureaucracy over bold moves. In the game of high-stakes geopolitics, Lagarde's sticking to the rulebook while the world burns, proving that red tape is the real superpower.
Putin declares Russia not seeking war, yet taunts Europe with readiness to fight. In the latest episode of Who Wants to Be a Supervillain, Putin postures like a playground bully, daring Europe to throw the first punch while clutching a diplomatic olive branch behind his back.
Pope Leo XIV urges European action in Ukraine peace, contrasting predecessors' praise for Russia's greatness. Looks like the Vatican just traded in its rose-colored glasses for a pair of reality spectacles as Pope Leo XIV swaps divine diplomacy for a little practical intervention, leaving his predecessor's Russian fan club membership card in the dust.
US pressures Europeans to reject EU's Ukraine loan plan, advocating fiscal restraint over solidarity. America's playing the world's financial advisor again, wagging its finger at Europe for trying to put their money where their morals are, while conveniently ignoring its own mountains of debt back home.
Trump directive removes indigenous report from federal sites, erasing visibility of ongoing crisis. It's like the administration's playing hide and seek with human rights, except nobody's laughing when the lives of indigenous people disappear from the ledger of accountability.
Trump's airspace ban grounds last foreign flights to Venezuela, isolating a nation already struggling. Welcome to the no-fly zone of diplomacy, where the skies are as empty as the promises of international solidarity.
Chinese copper smelters clash with Chilean miner over fees, risking negative returns. In a classic standoff, the only thing more stubborn than the ore is the refusal to budge on who foots the bill for its refinement.
Australian buys UK warranty provider D&G seeks global expansion. When warranties become the hot ticket item, you know the real gamble is betting on a future where your toaster might actually survive its warranty period.
Watches of Switzerland increases US sales, defies tariff chaos. When luxury wrist candy thrives amidst tariff tantrums, you have to wonder if these watches come with a built-in time machine to skip the economic meltdown.
When your name sounds like a rejected Marvel villain duo, your music better be more than just a drizzle. Let's hope their raining hell doesn't turn out to be a light sprinkle of mediocrity.
In the age of ghosting and left swipes, asking if someone loves you feels as retro as a rotary phone. Maybe gyms should start with S-Sacre tu m'entends first?
Trump administration courts robots for solutions, ignoring human labor like it's a sentient Roomba. Looks like the White House is outsourcing empathy to machines now. Just wait until they program them to tweet at 3 a.m. with all caps diplomacy.
Australia bans social media for under 16s, claims it's for safety, not control. In a world where teenagers are more tech-savvy than most politicians, this ban is like giving a shark a snorkel and expecting it to forget how to swim.
Daylight Computer DC-1 launches at $500, promises sunburn-free computing. Finally, a laptop that won't melt faster than a popsicle in Texas. Now you can work outside without feeling like you're sauteing your fingertips.
Bending Spoons buys Eventbrite for $500 million, calls it a spoonful of synergy. Looks like Bending Spoons is planning to stir the pot of social gatherings, proving once again that tech conglomerates are the ultimate party crashers.
Musk says ending H-1B visas would harm US, then hires more robots. In a plot twist worthy of a sci-fi flick, Musk warns against shutting down the H-1B program while quietly perfecting his cyborg workforce.
Japanese researchers dethrone spider silk, declare bagworm silk stronger, then keep it a secret. Turns out the real superpower in nature wasn't Spider-Man. It was Bagworm Boy all along. Who knew that a humble little worm could muscle out the eight-legged wonder?
The European Union reverses combustion engine ban, citing nostalgia for pollution. Apparently, the EU decided that the sweet symphony of exhaust fumes and engine noise was just too romantic to let go. Who needs clean air when you've got tradition?
France requests technology transfers from China, claiming they're now the emerging country.
U.S. imposes $100 fee on foreign visitors to Yellowstone and Grand Teton, claims it's progress.
Republican barely wins in deep red Tennessee district. GOP calls it a warning sign. It's like watching a heavyweight champion barely win against a featherweight. Sure, they won, but everyone's wondering if they've still got the punch.
Silver retreats from all-time high. Traders cash in while dollar flexes old muscle. The precious metal market is like a roller coaster. Just when you think you're at the top, gravity and greed pull you right back down.
Pink Floyd's Paranoid Eyes gets a modern twist, as listeners stream the classic track while dodging targeted ads and algorithmic recommendations. In a world where your playlist knows you better than your therapist, Pink Floyd's haunting lyrics remind us that sometimes the real paranoia is just living in the digital age.
Trump targets Somali immigrants with crackdown, ignoring Minnesota's vibrant cultural contributions. While the president paints communities as threats, Somali Minnesotans are busy enriching the state with their art, cuisine, and resilience, unlike some leaders we know.
EU considers forcing industries to cut China purchases, calling it strategic independence. In the latest episode of geopolitical soap opera, the EU tries to wean itself off China like a caffeine addict swearing off coffee. Good luck with that.
U.S. strategy document targets Europe's trajectory and NATO growth, claims to defend freedom. Because nothing says freedom quite like a big brother dictating your every move. Europe's got front row seats to the latest American power play.
Supreme Court approves Texas congressional map favoring GOP. Justice is apparently a partisan sport. When the highest court in the land doubles as a cheerleader for gerrymandering, democracy's playing field gets a little more tilted.
Court orders OpenAI to disclose ChatGPT logs. Transparency is the new AI kryptonite. When the quest for opacity meets the gavel of justice, the digital age gets a peek behind the algorithmic curtain.
Only 10% of investors profit shorting US stocks, and AI-fueled optimism calls it progress. Shorting stocks now is like betting against a superhero in their prime, just as AI dons its cape and the economy flexes its muscles.
CDC advisory panel delays vote on infant hepatitis B vaccine restrictions, citing need for more data. When health gets stuck in a bureaucratic traffic jam, you know it's time to question if the lights are intentionally stuck on red.
UK MPs launch inquiry into Prince Andrew's Royal Lodge lease, raising eyebrows over royal real estate deals. When public funds dance with royal privilege, it's the commoners left footing the bill while the aristocracy enjoys the waltz.
CJ Affiliate promises easy income, but for most beginners, it's a labyrinth of jargon and hidden fees. Navigating affiliate marketing is like trying to find treasure in a maze designed by a trickster. Success is possible, but only if you don't get lost in the fine print.
Trump's security chief demands ban on Afghan refugees. The irony of using a tragedy to push xenophobic policies is like selling a welcome mat that's electrified.
When your news feed feels like a hall of mirrors, you start questioning if reality is just a really bad deep fake.
Only 5% of metal bands get mainstream radio play, and yet Daughters of Sophia shatter soundscapes like a sonic wrecking ball. When the airwaves are filled with pop fluff, these daughters bring the thunder, reminding us that rebellion still has a soundtrack.
Trump officials claim second strike targeted a drug boat, not its crew, then insist it was a precision act of compassion. It's like saying you aimed for the piñata, but the candy just happened to be collateral damage. Sweet denials are the new diplomacy. Only 2% of anti-AI activists disappear, and the AI industry calls it a coincidence. When activists vanish faster than their arguments, it's easier to blame it on an algorithmic glitch. Ghosts of the revolution are the new endangered species.
Van Epps wins Tennessee special election, and MAGA calls it a landslide. When your echo chamber roars louder than reality, every ripple looks like a tidal wave. Just remember, a landslide can't stop the ground beneath from crumbling.
When your foreign policy is a game of darts played blindfolded, it's no wonder you hit the wrong target. Oops, indeed. Apologies don't resurrect the collateral damage.
Doctor jailed for supplying ketamine to late Friends star Matthew Perry calls it a misunderstanding. When your prescription pad doubles as a dealer's list, you might just find yourself in a script straight out of a dark comedy. The doc's defense? Could I be any more misunderstood?
Afghanistan-Pakistan tensions escalate, jeopardizing billions in Chinese investments, and Beijing labels it a minor setback. When your multi-billion-dollar Belt and Road dreams hit real-world potholes, it's a drama even Confucius couldn't have scripted. China might need more than a fortune cookie to navigate this geopolitical mess.
When your breakthrough is a glorified coin toss, it's clear the real jackpot is the patent, not the patience. Keep the champagne corked, folks. This isn't the cure-all you promised.
Climate experts rank fragile regions, forecast collapse before 2100. Mother Nature is about to flip the table, and we're still arguing over who left the lights on. Spoiler, it's not going to be an encore performance.
Researchers link tattoos to melanoma risk, demand more studies to confirm. Inked rebellion might come with a side of skin cancer, but science hasn't inked the final verdict yet. Stay tuned for the plot twist.
ICE arrests dozens in New Orleans, insists it's not racial profiling. In the Trump administration's latest episode of Operation Fear, communities get a front row seat to the dystopian drama of targeted oppression.
Hungary rejects Eurobond's proposal, claims better solutions exist. In a plot twist worthy of a bad sitcom, Hungary's government says "niet" to Eurobonds. leaving the EU to fumble for a plan B in its Russian asset saga.
Frank Gehry dies at 96, leaves behind a titanium legacy. Gehry's architectural wonders were as rebellious as a punk band smashing guitars on stage, reshaping skylines and daring us to dream in titanium and curves.
Trump pardons convicted fraudsters, calls it justice reform. When pardons become as common as reality TV reruns, the line between justice and a late-night infomercial blurs, selling corruption as the new norm.
Scientists discover blood molecules reverse aging, then patent the fountain of youth. Looks like the secret to eternal youth isn't in a pricey skincare aisle, but swimming in your veins, waiting for Big Pharma to slap a price tag on it.
Only 30% of UK and US public support nationalist views, and Reform voters call it patriotism. Apparently, loving your country means building walls and burning bridges, according to those who think global connections are just pesky interruptions to their echo chambers.
Taiwan bans Red Note for 1 year, claims it's a fraud risk. When your app's main feature is data mining disguised as social networking. Even tech-savvy Taiwan gives you the digital beat.
Judge orders Epstein transcripts released, promises transparency. When the justice system finally decides to air its dirty laundry, expect a stench that even the ocean breeze of Florida can't mask.
Only 3% of indie hip-hop tracks go viral, and Mayor Mercules calls it his breakout moment. In a world where everyone with a mic is a future legend, the real question is, does your beat drop or does it flop?
White House repurposes pop star's song for ICE video, calls it patriotic remix. In the land of the free, where consent is optional, nothing says welcome like a catchy tune set to deportation footage.
Historians highlight limits of Hitler-Trump comparison, as if new ones ever stopped a headline. Comparing leaders to Hitler is like a political piñata. Everyone gets a swing, but historians keep reminding us there's more than just candy inside.
Counting only citizens is like playing cards with half a deck and still expecting to win the game.
Hegseth misled viewers about a boat bombing video, revealing truth is still the first casualty of war. In a sea of misinformation, Hegseth's fib was the iceberg that sank credibility. When facts are optional, reality is just a DIY project.
Only 20% of emerging currencies outperformed, and traders still call it a mixed day. When the peso and real are the shining stars, you know the FX galaxy is full of black holes. Meanwhile, AI's hype is the gravity pulling everyone off course.
Judge orders Ramonullah Lakanwal held without bond, calls US National Guard shooting sheer terror. From CIA trained ally to courtroom defendant, Lakanwal's journey is a grim reflection of America's foreign policy blowback. The echoes of occupation now ring in the halls of justice.
Only 39% of U.S. electricity comes from coal, and coal companies call it a transition. As coal fades to black, bankruptcy filings pile up like soot, yet the industry clings to the past like a miner clutching his last canary.
White House claims Europe will be unrecognizable by 2045, then blames immigrants for its own policies. When in doubt, point fingers at everyone else. It's easier than addressing xenophobia or, climate change.
Only 15% of Americans trust the government, and the administration calls it a mandate. Confidence in leadership is so low, it might need a ladder to reach the basement. But hey, as long as there's spin, who needs trust?
Renault partners with Aquas to build ground drones, calls it innovation. From cars to combat, Renault's new motto seems to be drive or die. Who knew the road to progress was paved with artillery shells? Leontic warns of over 10 million franc loss, calls it a hiccup. Leontic's stock is doing the limbo under the bar of investor expectations. How low can it go? Maybe they should invest in pogo sticks.
Saab, accused of corruption over 17 Gripen jets sold to Colombia, denies any turbulence. Saab's PR team must be working overtime, selling jets and cleaning up messes. Maybe they should have included a conscience in the cockpit.
Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav hypes Netflix deal as a game changer despite layoffs and sinking stock prices. Zaslav's optimism is as rich as his golden parachute. While the ship takes on water, he's busy rearranging the deck chairs.
U.S. Veterans Affairs officials vet non-citizen workers, yet ignore backlog of veteran claims. Because nothing says support our troops like prioritizing paperwork over people who fought for the country.
When hunting deer just isn't thrilling enough, why not try hunting humans? Nothing preserves the wild like a little federal overreach.
Tunisia arrests opposition leader Najib Chebi, calls it justice. When justice wears the mask of tyranny, anyone with a spine becomes a criminal. Tunisia's latest crackdown is a masterclass in silencing dissent.
Money market assets reach $8 trillion, while the wealth gap yawns wider. As the rich stack their coins, the rest of us are left flipping cushions for loose change. Welcome to the trickle-down economy.
Chiose abandons campaign against Jeffries. Pressure from Mamdani seals his fate. When politics turns into a high school drama, the popular kids decide who gets to run for class president. Spoiler, it's not the rebel.
EU proposes new surveillance measures, promises greater security at the cost of personal freedom. When Big Brother dresses in blue and gold stars, it's not a fashion statement. It's a warning label you can't ignore.
Going green should mean prosperity, not economic asphyxiation. It's hard to save the planet when your wallet's on life support.
Trump orders inspectors to halt tracking anti-LGBTQ+ prison issues, claiming ignorance is bliss. When the fox guards the henhouse, expect feathers to fly. Ignoring hate doesn't erase it, it just paints it invisible.
New York debates holding primaries on Super Tuesday, hoping to steal some spotlight from Iowa and New Hampshire. Because nothing screams democracy like a race to see which state can shout the loudest first. Priorities, right?
Australia's Dolphin Sands bushfire destroys properties while New South Wales faces a severe heatwave and officials assure us it's all under control. As if Mother Nature needed a reminder that climate change is the uninvited guest crashing humanity's party. But hey, keep calm and carry on, right?
Russian troops push forward in Vovchansk, yet Ukraine's army clings to the southern edge with a tenacity only desperation can fuel. In this green waltz of war, the dance floor shrinks, but the band plays on, each side hoping to outlast the other's resolve in a deadly duet.
Trump signs Taiwan Assurance Implementation Act, then assures China it's just a friendly gesture, not a geopolitical chess move. In the theater of international politics, sometimes the script reads more like a farce, where the punchline is always at someone else's expense.
Manhattan luxury home sales spike post-election, then debunk the Great Florida Escape myth. Turns out, the only thing moving faster than the rumor mill is the Manhattan real estate market. Apparently, the Mamdani effect is as real as unicorns and tax-free shopping.
The arcane love drops diamonds, then polishes hard rock to a defiant shine. With riffs sharp enough to cut glass and lyrics that hit like a battle cry, Brick and Love isn't just playing music. They're forging an anthem for those who refuse to be tamed.
When self-harm is the only outlet for despair behind bars, it's not just a crisis, it's a damning indictment of a system designed to cage rather than rehabilitate.
FBI Deputy Director dismisses claims of hiding pipe bomb suspect, then denies accountability. When the truth is buried under a mountain of denials, it seems accountability is just another ghost in the FBI's haunted house of secrets.
Prada Group buys Versace for nearly $1.4 billion, promises synergy. When fashion giants merge, it's like mixing two signature perfumes and hoping it doesn't smell like a boardroom full of accountants.
It's like watching referees secretly huddle with one team. Suddenly the game's not just rigged, it's a full-blown circus.
Earth overshoot daylands. On July 28, humanity's appetite outpaces planet's ability to cope.
UNSC delegation visits Syria, celebrates a year since al-Assad fell. It's like showing up to the apocalypse with a cake, expecting applause. Maybe next they'll bring balloons to the rubble.
Trump sues Institute of Peace, stamps his name on it. It's like spray painting your name on a dove and calling it diplomacy, a peace institute with a brand of chaos.
Slate's crossword clue asks for a 3-letter word for place for lions or pool tables. The answer is DN. Whether it's a lion's lair or a billiards retreat, it's all about where the cats and cues roam free.
Australia revokes Matthew Gruder's visa, yet he still manages to book a flight. It's a bold move to kick out a neo-Nazi, but maybe they should have also checked if his frequent flyer miles were still valid.
In a world that could use more real-life heroes, we lose a master of on-screen antagonists who always made evil look so damn good.
Hayley Williams seeks identity beyond Paramore, declaring it's time. When the lead singer of a band named after a military term for shelter needs to find herself, you know the music industry's a labyrinth even a compass can't navigate.
NATO pledges to protect Europe at all costs, while Russia denies rejecting Ukraine peace plan. NATO's defence strategy sounds like a superhero movie script, but with more bureaucracy and less capes. Meanwhile, Russia's peace plan denial is like saying you didn't eat the cookie while crumbs coat your lips.
Bulgaria withdraws planned budget after protest, but only after police clash with demonstrators in Sofia. It's a classic case of, we hear you, but only after you shout loud enough to crack the windows. The Bulgarian government's retreat is as half-hearted as a toddler's apology.
Apparently, stealing a fortune is just a temporary inconvenience if you've got friends in high places. The scales of justice come with a VIP pass.
Who knew a volcano could play matchmaker between magma and mayhem, unleashing a plague that redefined hot mess on a continental scale?
When badges become blinders, it takes a gavel to remind them that the rule of law isn't a suggestion but a mandate.
Checkpoint raises $1.5 billion, calls it innovation while recycling stock like leftovers at a corporate potluck. Zero coupon bonds, where the magic of no interest meets the thrill of buying back your own shares. Financial acrobatics, or just a fancy way to juggle the books.
Putin and Modi deepen ties, then exchange friendship bracelets, while the U.S. pouts in the corner, clutching its sanctions. In the geopolitical playground, Putin and Modi trade marbles and whispers, while Uncle Sam tries to enforce a game of solitary tag.
NFL game disappears from scoreboard, and fans realize the only thing missing was the hope of either team making the playoffs.
In a clash of mediocrity, the Cowboys and Raiders delivered the suspense of a rerun, proving even the scoreboard knew when to take a break.
Russia restricts FaceTime, claiming it's a threat to national security while conveniently ignoring the threat of their own surveillance programs. In the ongoing saga of state control, Russia's digital iron curtain grows thicker, turning a phone call into a state secret and privacy into a relic of the past.
Swiss Railways launches new night train from Zurich to Hamburg, promising a journey as smooth as a Swiss watch, but as timely as a delayed flight. In a world racing towards speed, Swiss Railways invites us to sleek through borders, offering the romance of train travel seasoned with a dash of continental delay.
Pep Guardiola insists Tottenham and Man United are in Premier League title race, while Manchester City fans wonder if delusion is the new strategy. Like a football manager in denial, Guardiola paints a picture of competition that could rival a unicorn sighting, keeping fans and rivals equally bewildered.
Top Admiral briefs lawmakers on boat strike, while watchdog faults Hegseth for using Signal like it's a burner phone in a spy movie. In a world where transparency is as rare as a unicorn, Hegseth's digital shenanigans make you wonder if he's auditioning for the next James Bond villain.
Belgium opposes using Russian assets for Ukraine aid, fearing it could set a precedent for financial piracy under the guise of justice.
Trump pardons cocaine kingpin amid anti-drug crusade, exemplifying the high stakes of low standards. When your war on drugs includes pardoning the generals, it's less a battle and more a game of Monopoly with get-out-of-jail-free cards.
Crypto investor donates £9 million to Reform UK, outpacing Tory funding. When digital coins fund political dreams, it's like paying for a roller coaster ride with Monopoly money, both thrilling and utterly detached from reality.
Putin's plane becomes world's most tracked aircraft en route to India, proving surveillance is the new global sport. When your ride gets more attention than a pop star's jet, maybe it's time to question who's really in control, your pilot or your publicity.
Anthropic's Daniela Amodei claims safe AI will be market's darling, while Trump administration sees regulation as the industry's kryptonite. When the safe bet is the underdog in a world where chaos holds the crown, maybe it's time to wonder if we're all just betting on the wrong horse.
Hillary Clinton blames social media for young people's anti-Israel views, branding it as mere propaganda. When the truth has to compete with algorithms and echo chambers, it's hard to tell if we're debating policy or just playing digital telephone.
U.S. tariffs claim limited impact on EBRD, chief economist insists. When the economic fallout is labeled limited,
Turkey puts journalist on trial for Armenian genocide article, Justice system redefines irony. When speaking truth becomes a crime, you know the courtroom is just a stage for a tragic farce where history is rewritten by the powerful.
Trump pardons Lay Wake, then he refuses to testify in Live Nation antitrust suit where transparency goes to die. It's like handing a get-out-of-jail-free card to Monopoly's banker. The game was rigged, but the players just keep rolling the dice.
House Judiciary subpoenas.
Ukraine's armed forces chief rejects territory surrender, labeling it an unjust peace, like a landlord refusing to sell the house for a handful of magic beans. In the world of geopolitics, even fairy tales have their villains, and this one wears a crown of stolen land.
Roger McGinn recalls the Byrds' countercultural classic creation, claiming it was like weaving a tapestry with threads of rebellion and a dash of cosmic pixie dust. In the kaleidoscope of rock history, the Byrds tuned their guitars to the frequency of revolution, strumming truth amidst a sea of changing faces.
U.S. Treasury market suffers worst weekly rout since April as economic data fuels uncertainty. Borrowers, brace yourselves. The financial gods have decided your wallet is their new playground, and the swings are only getting higher.
Only 20% of swing voters report confidence in politicians, and pollsters call it engagement. Swing voters, the political equivalent of unicorns, are asked to share their feelings, because nothing says "we care" like a survey.
Israeli-backed militia leader Yasser Abu Shabab dies at 32, hailed as a peacekeeper. When your PR strategy involves rebranding from anti-terror service to popular forces, maybe the peacekeeping mission was never about peace.
Regulators scrutinize hedge funds' leveraged bond trades, citing risk. When the world's wealthiest dance on the edge of a financial cliff, regulators play catch-up while hedge funds perfect their tightrope routines.
Trump names U.S. Institute of Peace after himself, defying irony. In a plot twist that would make Orwell blush, the man known for inciting chaos now sponsors peace, proving once again that satire is dead.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 fails to scare, achieving only ridicule. When animatronics become the punchline instead of the terror, you know the only thing haunting this game is its lack of creativity. Trump may exit CUSMA trade deal in 2026, citing dissatisfaction. Because nothing says stable genius like destabilizing an entire continent's economy just to keep things interesting.
Studio Canal pulls spitting image from YouTube, yet Avalon refuses to back down. When Britain's beloved bear takes on satire, it's a marmalade sticky showdown where comedy's the weapon and irony's the collateral damage.
Israel cleared for Eurovision 2026, 4 countries boycott. When Eurovision becomes Eurodivision, it's less about the music and more about the geopolitical dance-off.
Who knew singing competitions doubled as diplomatic showdowns?
When a dozen-plus massacres is a statistical win, it's clear our bar for progress is buried 6 feet under. Who knew we'd count tragedies like sports scores?
Because nothing screams wild escapade like sautéing onions while dodging a midlife crisis. Next up, extreme whisking and death-defying spice rap.
Chinese economist urges stronger yuan, then calls it a deflation buster. Because nothing tackles deflation like letting your currency bench press while household incomes do the limbo. Who knew economic resilience needed a gym membership?
Only 40% of Europeans embrace diversity, and cultural stereotypes call it a mosaic. In the land of chocolate and neutrality, stereotypes melt faster than a fondue. Who knew a Swiss-born Arab could sketch a map that makes Europe look like a jigsaw of clichés?
Swedish government funds dating manual, claims it will end male loneliness. In the land of IKEA, even love life comes with an instruction manual. Next step, assemble your emotions with an Allen wrench and an existential crisis.
Sony announces new Men in Black film, promises originality with recycled scriptwriter. Because nothing screams innovation like dusting off the old alien suits and hoping nostalgia will save the box office once more. Here's hoping for a plot twist that isn't just déjà vu.
Estonian intelligence predicts heavy battles for Ukraine. Peace talks remain a distant dream. The Kremlin seems to think that the best way to win hearts and minds is by repeatedly pounding them into submission.
Putin insists on hardball tactics while Trump claims Moscow wants a cozy chat. It's like watching a bad cop, worst cop routine where Putin plays the role of the iron-fisted dictator and Trump acts like he's in a buddy comedy trying to sell us on a fairy tale of Russian diplomacy.
In reality, these so-called free tools often come with a catch as hefty as a CEO's bonus, where your data becomes the real price of admission.
Starmer promises baby formula savings, but parents still face overpriced diapers. While a few extra pounds in savings might buy a pint of sanity, it won't change the fact that parenting costs are as inflated as a politician's ego.
SanDisk and Sam delay NAND shipments. Transcend left high and dry since October. When tech giants play supply chain poker, smaller players like Transcend are left holding nothing but a busted flush and an empty promise.
Only 20% of siblings settle estates peacefully, and this one's a real-life family feud.
Scientists discover white dwarfs inflate mysteriously, defying cosmic expectations established for eons. Looks like even in death, stars find a way to break the rules and expand waistlines. Mother Nature always one to keep cosmologists on their toes and their theories in the shredder.
Samsung updates One UI calculator to version 12.5, solving precisely zero life crises. Because sometimes you need an app update to remind you that no amount of arithmetic can calculate the absurdity of tech companies pretending this is progress.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth faces backlash while a Navy admiral dodges questions on deadly boat strikes. When the seas turn red, it's not just the sailors who need rescuing, but the truth drowning in political waves.
Australia's bond yields surged to yearly high, defying inflation with a rate hike tango. Seems like the only thing rising faster than interest rates is the temperature of a kangaroo's hop.
ESA and NASA unveil Cosmic Cradle, revealing a cloud nursery birthing stars 480 light-years away. While Earth struggles with nursery fees, space is running a daycare for stars, and the tuition is just a sprinkle of cosmic dust.
Republicans abandon Trump-led AI law block after trying to wedge it into defense bill. When your defense strategy involves blocking AI laws for 10 years, maybe your real enemy is innovation.
Democrats release Epstein Island images, demand Trump end cover-up amid ongoing scandal. When political theater involves harrowing photos and hashtags, maybe it's time to question what's really being covered up, justice or distraction.
SecAlerts launches new AI system, promises real-time vulnerability tracking but doesn't mention the price of cyber peace. In a world where smarter, faster is a sales pitch, remember, the real vulnerability might just be our blind faith in buzzwords.
Only 12% of Tanktown residents trust the local council, and the mayor calls it progress. In a place where trust is as scarce as a punk rock ballad about conformity, let's hope the mayor's next campaign promises more than just hot air and potholes.
IFA announces 42 World Cup teams, calls it a global unifier. In a spirit of unity, let's hope the ticket prices don't require a second mortgage, or we'll all be cheering from our couches.
Grand jury declines to charge Letitia James, then justice takes a coffee break. It's amazing how the wheels of justice sometimes roll right into a pothole, leaving accountability to hitchhike its way back to relevance.
When the economic crystal ball gets foggy, traders just shake it harder, hoping a Trump-backed chair won't turn it into a snow globe of chaos.
Levi's heir demands end to ultra-rich tax loophole, then Congress labels it class warfare. When a denim dynasty takes on tax dodgers, you know the rich are getting a little too comfortable in their designer jeans.
CDC panel reverses universal hepatitis B vaccine policy, citing new data that remains mysteriously vague. When health advisories start playing musical chairs with vaccines, maybe it's time to wonder who's conducting the orchestra.
Ukraine's top general claims forces hold northern Pokrovsk, while Russia struggles to sneak past their defenses. When your neighbor keeps trying to crash the party uninvited, it's wise to keep a bouncer at the door.
Former ICC prosecutor labels US boat strikes as crimes against humanity, yet global outrage remained eerily silent. When your actions make waves, but no one's willing to rock the boat, the sea of justice stays unsettlingly calm.
Pusha T declares diss tracks, Dead to Me,
Yet the music industry clings to its outdated feuds like a broken record. When even the king of lyrical warfare hangs up his gloves, maybe it's time to stop fighting yesterday's battles.
The Netherlands removes Google tracking from spy job listings, exposing the absurdity of surveilling the surveillors. When spies have to dodge Google's data net, it's a plot twist even Orwell couldn't script. Who watches the watchers? Apparently Silicon Valley. TSA to charge $45 fee for travelers without real ID. Nothing screams land of the free like paying extra for the privilege of identification.
Only 15% of windfall recipients feel appreciated by families, while siblings demand more. Turns out, generosity is just a down payment on a lifetime of guilt trips. Who knew vacations came with a baggage claim of entitlement?
Sabrina Carpenter Inc.'s multi-million-dollar contract, despite fiery White House clash. From pop star to political firebrand, Carpenter proves that a little discord with the powers that be can be a career's best backbeat. Rock on, Sabrina.
U.S. military strikes suspected smuggling boat twice, but drugs were bound for South America. Looks like Uncle Sam's aim was off by a continent. Maybe the military's new strategy is to make sure drugs get a scenic detour before reaching their destination.
Wall Street's got a new soap opera, big bids, halted plans, and a workforce taking a nosedive. Maybe the market's just trying to win an Emmy for best drama.
Brazil's fuel crackdown ignites distributor shares, defying the usual corruption tango. Turns out when you stop crime, legal businesses thrive. Who knew? In Brazil, they're finally giving crime the boot and stock prices are cha-cha-chaing to new heights.
Hong Kong IPOs attract Millennium and Jane Street, proving money still loves a gamble. When corporate heavyweights gather to bet on financial fireworks in a city known for its political storms, you know the only thing more resilient than capitalism is its blind optimism.
In the circus of British politics, the ringmaster denies the elephants are conspiring, while the audience knows the only thing holding the tent up is hot air.
Finnish president warns Europe about US's secret chats with Russia while negotiating with Ukraine. Diplomacy is a poker game where the US holds all the aces, Russia hides cards up its sleeve, and Europe gets dealt a joker.
Because nothing says commitment like making animals healthier while counting the profits on their eventual demise.
Gavin Newsom says Halle Berry didn't know the full story, claims they're reconciling. Because nothing patches up accusations of devaluing women like a good old mansplained misunderstanding. Next up, a seminar on how to be misunderstood with style.
Love is Blind's Alexa and Brennan Lemieux announced split 1 year after welcoming daughter. Proving once again that reality TV relationships have the shelf life of an avocado in July.
UNESCO's QQ calls you 24 times, claims its $400 billion fund needs your personal touch. Seems like Invesco's desperate for a new mascot, or they've mistaken you for a stock market whisperer. Either way, tell them to text like everyone else in 2025.
Trump claims tariff revenue will end income taxes, but math reveals a parallel universe. In Trump's world, tariffs are magic beans that grow tax-free money trees. Unfortunately, in reality, they're just overpriced imports with a side of economic indigestion.
Only 10% of Gen Z want manufacturing jobs, while boomers retire in droves. It seems Gen Z prefers sparking wires over assembling widgets, leaving the manufacturing sector with more vacancies than a ghost town motel. Who knew making stuff would be so uncool?
Trump grants record number of pardons, including to his former aides. In a twist of justice that feels more like a sitcom than governance, Trump's clemency list reads like a reunion special for the ethically challenged. Who needs accountability when you've got a get-out-of-jail-free card?
Canada Border Services Agency sits on 10,000 stale warrants, calls it backlog. It's a bureaucratic version of hoarding, only instead of old newspapers and expired coupons, it's people's lives and futures collecting dust.
Only 30% of people prefer nature over Netflix, and researchers call it a revelation. Turns out, humans might be more into binge watching than bird watching. Who needs the great outdoors when you can have a great couch and a streaming service that knows you better than your own mother?
Russian officials reportedly send abducted Ukrainian children to North Korea, while U.S. senators scramble to piece together the evidence. In a geopolitical game of hot potato, it's the children who end up as the tossed spuds, and the world watches, slack-jawed, as lines on maps mean more than lives in reality.
Only 20% of parents understand hepatitis B risks, and pharmaceutical companies call it an awareness campaign. In the world of modern parenting, ignorance is bliss until it becomes a liability, and Big Pharma's awareness is just a euphemism for profit margin.
White House renames U.S. Institute of Peace after Trump, redefining irony at no extra charge. In a move that feels like naming a bulldozer Gentle Breeze, the White House continues its avant-garde approach to reality.
Trump targets Somali immigrants to deflect while selling chaos like it's a clearance sale at a dystopian warehouse. When you're the maestro of misdirection, every tweet's a smoke bomb and every scapegoat's a shield. Who needs accountability when you've got a circus?
German army loses thousands of ammo rounds. When your defense plan involves misplaced bullets, maybe it's time to rethink the efficiency of your logistics.
Top military commander shows lawmakers vote-style video, insists it's just extreme water sports. When your military footage doubles as a horror show, maybe it's time to question who's directing this reality series. Survivors in distress shouldn't be the plot twist.
Trump approval rating drops to 36%, yet he claims it's just alternative popularity. When your approval rating is as low as your predecessor's worst moment, maybe the alternate facts are finally running out of spin. Even MAGA might need new hats.
When peace talks end with a half-baked truce and a 5-star menu, you know the only thing fully cooked is the hypocrisy.
Indigo cancels thousands of flights, calls it turbulence. When your wedding vows get postponed by an airline, it's clear that the only aisle you'll be walking is the one at customer service.
Only 10% of pop songs break charts, and Surfer Boy calls it a wave. When your dopamine fix is a pop song, you're surfing a sea of mediocrity with a board made of recycled cliches.
San Francisco mourns as Claude, the 30-year-old albino alligator, dies, leaving a swamp-sized void. Even in a city of tech titans and innovation, it took a reptile to remind us that sometimes the most cherished icons are those who simply bask in the sun.
Sabrina Carpenter slams politicians for exploiting Juno soundtrack, claiming its misuse defies the film's spirit. When political campaigns start hijacking indie film soundtracks, it's clear that originality isn't on their election agenda. Maybe they should try writing their own tune.
Fossil of ancient long-snouted croc found in Egypt challenges current crocodile evolution theories. Turns out, our scaly friends were once the hipsters of the reptile world, rocking a marine lifestyle before it was cool. Who knew evolution had a plot twist worthy of a Netflix series?
FBI arrests suspect in January 6 pipe bomb case 4 years later. Justice moves slower than a turtle on tranquilizers, but hey, at least they didn't wait until the suspect was eligible for their senior citizen discount.
Atlantic Trivia updates with fresh questions still solves nothing. Because clearly what we need in 2025 is more trivia and fewer answers to life's actual questions. Who needs solutions when you have obscure facts?
South Africa raises $3.5 billion in Eurobond sale, calls it a sign of confidence. Apparently, investors are so desperate for returns, they'll bet on a country where power outages are more reliable than the government. Hans-Joe Rubloff, who transformed the Eurobond market, dies at 85 and the financial world suddenly feels a little less cutthroat. The man who made bonds sexy in the 80s is gone, proving even financial titans can't escape the ultimate market correction.
Only 8% of job seekers find stable employment, and the government calls it a healthy economy. When the bar for success is lower than a limbo stick at a frat party, you know the system's priorities are upside down.
Only 20% of people trust the media, and broadcasters call it a communication breakthrough. When truth is scarier than fiction, it's no wonder we're all clinging to our tinfoil hats like life vests in a storm.
Metropolitan Police ignored parents' warnings about a nursery worker. Then he pled guilty to 26 child abuse offenses.
When safeguarding becomes a game of pass the parcel, it's the most vulnerable who end up paying the price.
Driver under influence crashes into Guadalupe market crowd, injures 19, including 6 children, then claims holiday spirit got too intoxicating. When your festive cheer involves a cocktail of drugs and chaos, maybe it's time to rethink your Christmas traditions.
West proposes new global order, but only after decades of ignoring everyone else, then calls it a collaborative effort. When the West finally wakes up to the global neighborhood, it might find its welcome mat long gone and the rocks changed.
Emma Tammy directs Five Nights at Freddy's sequel, but only improves jump scares by 10%, then claims it's a masterpiece. When your movie's main achievement is a slightly better heart attack, maybe don't call it cinematic evolution.
Pentagon AG reports Heg's endangered troops with signal chat, but insists it was just a friendly conversation. When your idea of troop support is a group chat that leaks like a sieve, maybe stick to forwarding memes.
When your strategy against a nuclear power is reduced to cryptic abbreviations, you might as well send them a crossword puzzle.
Finally, Spotify acknowledges we care about more than just single tracks, just in time for the world to forget what an album even is.
Congress rejects Trump's Venezuela strategy, citing lessons unlearned. Looks like Capitol Hill finally found its spine, just in time to remind us that history repeats itself if you keep skipping the lessons.
American Economic Association bans Larry Summers for life, a harsh lesson in email etiquette. When your inbox turns into a blacklist, maybe it's time to rethink your reply all strategy. Summers just learned that the hard way.
Montreal gets a fresh face from France, hoping a 20-year-old can bolster their defense while Vancouver's left pondering their own exit strategy.
ISM reports U.S. economy growth for 6 months. Like a roller coaster with no brakes, the economy's up but businesses are white-knuckling it, unsure if the next dip will be tariffs or just plain terror.
Afghanistan claims 4 civilians killed in border clashes with Pakistan, escalating tension post failed Saudi peace talks. When peace talks fail, the only thing that seems to get exchanged faster than bullets is blame, leaving civilians to pay the ultimate price in a deadly game of diplomatic dodgeball.
Republican governor hailed as college football's most shameless, following LSU's hire of Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin mid-season. Poaching coaches like a fox in a henhouse, this governor makes college football look like a political campaign, all promises of glory, leaving a trail of chaos and broken allegiances.
Venmo declares itself back up and running after a service outage, just as users remembered the ancient art of cash. When your digital wallet goes AWOL, it's like discovering your babysitter left the kids with a pack of wolves. Sure, they're alive, but at what cost?
Clippers sever ties with veteran Chris Paul in a shocking midnight maneuver, proving loyalty is just another sport to be benched. When your career is discarded faster than a fast break, you realize teams treat players like apps, only useful until the next update.
Institute of Peace renamed for Trump just months after his administration eviscerated it, proving irony is alive and well in Washington. It's like naming a deforested park after a chainsaw, perfectly absurd and tragically fitting.
Gavin Newsom blocks California billionaire tax, hoping to fill the White House with golden campaign promises instead of actual gold. Looks like he's betting on the billionaires to bankroll his dreams, because who needs public support when you have deep pockets to dive into?
Raccoon gets plastered in liquor store, ends wild night passed out in the bathroom amidst broken bottles. When your spirit animal is a party animal, you know it's time to reconsider your life choices, or at least pick a better hideout.
Einstein Company releases Carol on Blu-ray, calls it a collector's item despite being available on every streaming service since forever. Because nothing says special edition like a shiny disc.
Because nothing screams innovation like swapping one mountain of debt for another, just with a shinier app and a friendlier interface. Federal Reserve claims profit. Guess the Fed's wallets are finally fattening up, just as ours are running on empty, proving once again that the house always wins.
In the grand cosmic dance, sterile neutrinos are the wallflowers. Always invited, never seen. Maybe they're just too cool for our earthly detectors.
UK Immigration Detention Centre reports 7-fold increase in serious incidents, calls it business as usual. When your detention center turns into a reality TV show gone wrong, maybe it's time to reconsider the script. Or the warden.
Josh Inglis delivers one-handed pickup and run-out of England captain in second Ashes test, turning cricket into a solo act. When you're so good at cricket, you start eliminating entire teams with a flick of the wrist. Maybe it's time for the others to take up knitting.
Because nothing says festive cheer like polyester suits and mirror balls spinning to the rhythm of jingle bells and questionable life choices.
Only 20% of Ukrainians find solace in church, while the rest brace for another winter facing Putin's frozen hell. When faith is the armor against missiles and frost, and the only warmth comes from candles and the will to endure.
When avoiding a trust shock means playing financial Jenga with the economy, it's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down.
Jim Jordan shields Jack Smith. Probes. When your investigative strategy involves more shadow than substance.
Tech giants deploy small language models, promise security, deliver new risks. When the tech wizards shrink their language models, it's like downsizing your guard dog to a chihuahua, now with extra vulnerabilities and a charming box that hackers just adore.
Trump nominates Hassett for Fed chair, doubts linger on rate cuts. Putting Hassett in charge of the Fed is like handing a kid a toy steering wheel and expecting him to drive a Formula One car, fast lane expectations, tricycle training wheels.
AMD and IBM see no AI bubble, just $8 trillion in data centers. When your rose-colored glasses are priced in trillions, every data center looks like a gold mine, not a potential sinkhole.
China launches diplomatic offensive to isolate Japan, claiming Taiwan's solidarity.
When rules are just suggestions, and oceans are merely parking lots for the world's most destructive toys, international diplomacy becomes a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek.
Trump disrupts 80-year government university research pact, leaving innovation in limbo. When a single signature can unravel decades of progress, it's like giving a toddler a pair of scissors in a room full of priceless art.
Australian government bans social media for teens under 16, claiming it's digital exorcism, when the solution to algorithmic manipulation is a blanket ban. It's like banning books to combat misinformation, clueless censorship dressed as protection.
Convincing citizens that their struggles are imaginary.
Only 20% of Woodstock attendees remember Leo Lyons, and nostalgia calls it a revival. The rock legends of yesteryear played for love, not algorithms proving you can't auto-tune authenticity. Trump calls Somali immigrants garbage, then claims to embrace diversity. Nothing says land of the free like turning the melting pot into a compost heap of xenophobia.
Driver plows into Christmas market crowd in Guadeloupe, injuring 19, calls it a holiday miracle. Because nothing quite captures the spirit of the season like a cocktail of alcohol, drugs, and vehicular chaos.
Nitrous oxide offers fast depression relief, promises to turn frowns into giggles. Finally, a treatment that understands the only way to face life's absurdity is with a balloon in hand and a laugh on your lips.
Warner Music sues AI company for theft, now licenses its artists to them. Warner's U-turn from courtroom to collaboration shows the music industry's willingness to dance with the devil, as long as the devil pays royalties.
Only 20% of language learners achieve fluency, and publishers call it success. Learning a language in exile is like trying to grow roses in a desert. Possible, but you're going to need a lot of water and stubbornness.
Pete Hegseth spills classified intel in chat, then claims it was a patriotic slip. Loose lips sink ships, but apparently they also get you a gig as a talking head on cable news.
Putin declares Russia will seize Donbas by force, then calls talks with the US very useful. When diplomacy means chat politely while sharpening the knives, it's clear who brought the axe to the peace table.
Fallout TV show delays iconic content. Producer promises eventual inclusion.
World Cup 2026 construction chaos. Guadalajara roads vanish under development. When your city's infrastructure plays hide and seek, it's hard to celebrate football when you're lost in the maze of progress.
G. Atherton constructs bike trail with forest wreckage, calls it eco-friendly. When your path to sustainability is literally paved with debris, it's hard to tell if you're saving the planet or just tidying up nature's clutter.
Dave Navarro gifts Les Paul to Frusciante, ends up pawned post-rehab. In the rock and roll version of a Greek tragedy, guitars change hands more often than loyalties, leaving a trail of riffs and regrets.
House Democrats unveil fresh Epstein Island photos. Nothing changes. In the world's most exclusive game of Where's Wally? The only thing more elusive than justice is the truth.
Awarding Trump a peace prize is like giving a participation trophy to a hurricane. It's loud, spins wildly, and leaves a mess in its wake.
Trump threatens Venezuela with invasion, calls it liberation. When the world's most notorious landlord decides to play risk with real countries, you know, diplomacy's taken a back seat to ego-driven geography lessons.
Australian Senate removes funding appeal rights for NDIS, labels it streamlining. When the government decides fewer voices mean better service, it's like solving a puzzle by throwing away the pieces that don't fit their narrative.
When border skirmishes are labeled peacekeeping, it's like calling a fistfight a friendly game of tag. Diplomacy by any other name still smells of gunpowder.
When a revolution means hacking your savings, it's like calling a pickpocket an economic innovator. Let's just say their interest rates are through the roof, literally.
Romanian military sinks Ukrainian sea baby in Black Sea, then calls it peacekeeping.
Ireland, Spain and the Netherlands boycott Eurovision 2026. Israel gets a free pass. Eurovision drama level, nuclear. When glitter diplomacy fails, just boycott the talent show. Freedom, sequins and selective outrage on full display.
US suspends sanctions on Russian oil giant Lukoil, claiming it's a peace gesture. When you need Russian oil to keep the lights on, suddenly sanctions become optional. Peace is just a barrel away, conveniently priced.
Greek Coast Guard finds 17 bodies in boat near Crete and 2 survive. The Mediterranean remains a watery grave while Europe debates border policies with all the urgency of watching paint dry.
Only 10% of orchestral music gets mainstream attention, and Sarav's latest piece isn't part of the elite club.
NASA captures infant stars sculpting dust in the Lobster Nebula. Calls it cosmic artistry. Meanwhile, Earthlings struggle to sculpt a coherent climate policy, but at least space is making progress in the art department.
FA awards Trump Peace Prize questions swirl around neutrality. Football may not solve geopolitical issues, but it sure knows how to kick democracy in the shins while dribbling away from accountability.
Only 20% of regions saw hunger fall, and the UN calls it progress. When climate change and conflict starve the vulnerable, progress is just a euphemism for selective empathy wrapped in bureaucratic red tape.
When access to weed is easier than healthcare, blame the system that profits from chaos.
Republican mayor faces deportation over voter fraud charges, and irony votes twice. When the party of election integrity can't even vet its own, it's like the pot calling the kettle a non-citizen.
It's a classic story. Banks are the bad boys everyone wants to flirt with, but nobody wants to take home to meet the parents.
Glencore wants equal stake in Chile mine deal with Anglo, though it's a dance with two rivals. It's like trying to share the last slice of cake at a wedding, where everyone hates each other, but loves the frosting.
Nature Microbiology says microviruses steer fungal fitness, yet fungi still can't parallel park. Who knew that tiny viral hitchhikers could make fungi more fit than your average gym rat? Maybe we should all start befriending viruses.
Ah, the classic pay me to think defense.
Police retrieve Fabergé pendant from suspect's stomach, claiming it was a gourmet heist. Clearly, this guy took "you are what you eat" way too literally. Next time, try digesting a Bond movie instead.